and other locales surrounding the Iran point on the map. Of course, we also have the Dominique Strauss-Kahn news breaking that they're looking to replace. By way of parallel, you remember a couple years ago, Paul Wolfowitz had his own sex scandal for hiring his mistress at the World Bank. He stepped down just before that year's conference at Bilderberg, and they reportedly did choose his successor there in the meeting, which ended up being, of course, Robert Zoellick, head of the World Bank.
Unbelievable. And Kurt's got the intel through our sources that they're looking at a particular finance minister out of Mexico to head up the IMF. That would be a big shakeup, because when they go through these rounds, it's just like Bilderberg only comes to the U.S. every 4 years. 3 of the 4 years they meet in continental Europe or England. Now the word is usually only 1 out of 4 years or rounds of IMF head position. Will it be an American? So if it's a Mexican, that'll show another major North American Union move.
Yeah, that is a huge development because, of course, the World Bank traditionally goes to an American, the IMF traditionally to a European. So if they were to bring Mexico into the fold, that is quite an expansion and obviously a sign they want to partner with other developing nations and bring more people into the centralized global government system.
Aaron, we're going to continue to check in with you, and coming up in the 3rd hour, we're going to do a video Skype from the hotel. I may actually change that and just have you guys from the site continue to report, and then perhaps do a overdrive with you guys today. For those that don't know what overdrive is, it's up on the satellites if stations want it, but it's also at prismplanet.tv, the audio and video streams at Infowars.com. So play it by ear. I'll let you know in the next 45 minutes, talking to you off air, whether you want to stay there at Bilderberg or go to your hotel to start filing your reports and also doing the video feeds. But we've got so much news here. There's a media blackout in the United States. Drudge is the only place on Monday that did carry our report about the high-level Swiss politician, basically a member of their Congress, calling for Kissinger's arrest if he shows up. So we're waiting for Drudge.
And he's indicted in France also.
And
he's also been indicted in France.
And under EU rules, he should be arrested, but Switzerland kept his sovereignty. So then the globalists can still come into there. The power of sovereignty is a double-edged sword. Of course, the EU is not going to arrest Kissinger to begin with, but who knows what could happen. We'll continue to watch that. We've got another headline that needs to get out, that there is a high-tech surveillance grid of police and makeshift cameras, that they are planning a gigantic war, that they're looking at the new IMF head. They're pushing they're worried that there's an awakening in Congress to Obama saying that the Libyan war would last days, not weeks. Now they're saying it'll last into Christmas, into next year, maybe for years, as long as it takes. And again, we've got video feeds right now of Aaron joining us on air. Let's continue with that shot. With the Swiss Alps in the background. I envy you guys, but I've got to stay here in the rear with the gear and direct all of this. Aaron, continuing, any other points that you'd like to add for folks?
Well, you know, it's hard to know offhand how clear the video is. These tripods.
It's crystal clear.
Surveillance cameras. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just to be clear, in case the video is not, they have these surveillance cams on makeshift tripods really about every 10 to 20 feet on every ledge, every sub-rooftop of this enormous and very gorgeous hotel. So it's very interesting.
Ask Paul, who's shooting live video right now for viewers at Infowars.com, to center the camera, because you can't really zoom with that while you're streaming. Center the camera with...
Center on those tripods.
Yeah, center on the tripods, and people can then focus in and see the cameras. Is that what looks like a lamppost right there? Is that the cameras you're talking about?
There's lampposts in the foreground. Beyond that, you'll see a short ledge with a building that is at its highest point about 10 feet, at its lowest point only about 4 feet.
Yeah, tell Paul.
Surveillance tripod is there.
Tell Paul.
Zoom in if you can and center on those cameras, please.
Yeah, and tell Paul to stay there. I want you to step in front of him for folks watching.
Stay on that.
And step in front of Paul.
Stay on that and let me step in front of it.
And then point.
He's going to back up just a bit because we're right up against this cordoned off zone here. But as you can see behind me, there are the makeshift surveillance cams, which I have not seen at the previous years. And in addition to the surveillance cams, every few feet, every 10 or 20, they have floodlights just to make sure, obviously, that they're seeing everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting development. And
Yeah, because media
like
is so dangerous and so evil compared to the globalist criminals. Okay, we see you, Aaron. Point directly to where it's at.
Okay, you can see here the first surveillance cam, and then behind it on the higher ledge, there's another one. Next to it, a bank of lights. Behind that, off to the right, a second bank of lights. Further off to the left, more banks of lights, more surveillance cams, all on these lower ledge roofs. And that's just, of course, what's visible, because we know they have snipers in place, smaller cameras surveilling for the ceilings. Obviously, it's an extremely high security zone. All
right, I'm going to make a call right here. Let's go ahead and do the third hour with you guys via video Skype. But if you're not ready by then, we'll just push it to the last half hour. I see you got the high-powered 35-millimeter lens there. That's what your support folks paid for, so we can able to bring you this hardcore coverage, this cutting-edge 21st century coverage. Get shots of the cops with that super high-def 35 mil. Get shots of the floodlights. Get shots of it all. Get back. File blurb reports at InfoWars and Prison Planet as articles. We'll then take those and put them into master articles for Drudge and others that I know are standing by for this breaking news coverage. So spend another 20 minutes there and then get back to the hotel and file your reports, because obviously you could also take Twitter photos with your how many megapixels are those iPhones? And then here at our office right now, we could blow up the still photos that you're posting at our Twitter feed at Infowars.com, and then we can blow those up here and get that out to people as well. And you're in the field, Aaron. I'm just the general back here at Command Base Delta. What do you want to do? That's my idea. But you're in command there on the ground. What do you want to do?
Oh, I think that makes perfect sense, Alex. So.
Well, no, I mean, do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, we'll stake this area out for another 20 minutes, and then we will head back to the hotel for a high-quality connection for later in the program. And I'm sure by then we're going to know even more, because there's limos constantly coming in. A lot of them are empty, but I believe they keep them in a continuous loop. That way any arrivees don't have to be inconvenienced, for one thing. Also, if they need to access other areas without being seen,
Now, do we have we have the 2000 Super Zoom video camera? Obviously, you guys are staking out a good place to start early in the morning when the global scum arrives en masse. Just like I got footage of Queen Beatrix and David Rockefeller and others. So obviously, find a good catbird seat.
Right.
You can get on a mountaintop and zoom in on their faces with that camera we got.
Yeah, it's an excellent camera, and it's worth noting, by the way, there's no true freedom of the press or freedom of speech here. The police are asking for passports in many cases, and we've learned from our sources, if you refuse, you can be arrested on the spot. So that's another aspect of the police state area.
Yeah, they took Luke's passport for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you witness that happen?
That was before we got here, but he told us about it.
Absolutely incredible. Well, that's an important thing. RT's there and working for RT reporter, a passport taken, which for those that don't know, that means he was detained because he couldn't travel or get out of Switzerland without it.
And they did threaten to arrest him, from what I understand.
Okay, well, we need to get all that intel to Kurt, who I know is listening. So, RT reporter, we need to add that as update blurbs to your article, Matt Ryan. RT reporter, passport confiscated, detained, threatened with arrest, and that was for simply walking up to the police line and talking to them?
Yeah, that's just for standing in an area very similar, very close to where I'm standing right now, Alex.
Meanwhile, Obama offers bailout for Greece, which means a bailout to Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, that the president of Greece on the Goldman Sachs payroll, their former finance minister, they set all this up 2 years ago, bragged about it. That's been in mainstream news. And so more of our tax money to Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan for their hundreds of billions in profits and bonuses. This is insane. Aaron, you were about to say something?
And, of course, all those banks that were bailed out, or at least a great deal of them, were directly CEO'd or chaired by members of the Bilderberg steering group, Barclays, Royal Bank of Scotland, the list goes on and on. People like Peter Sutherland, who was also BP and Royal Dutch Shell chairman. Those guys ran failed banks, and they got bailed out, and now they're the ones profiting from it, of course.
Well, Aaron, I know you have a mini tripod to put that iPhone on it. You could zoom in there and get some photos of that and Twitter it right now to the InfoWars Twitter feed. Get that done, do whatever else you want, and get back to base, start filing reports. Filing reports comes before you joining us via video Skype. Stand by. I'll give you directions during the break. We'll come back with Matt Ryan, then Gerald Celente coming up. Tons of global news. Luke Radowski up there on the side of the mountain over where Bilderberg Group is meeting is just popping in with us for a few minutes. He'll be back later today with Aaron and Paul Watson all reporting. He is an RT, Russia Today reporter, of course, founder of the organization We Are Change, anti-globalist organization. Briefly, Luke, tell us how they took your passport, why they did it, what happened.
I mean, as soon as I came here, I started making a little bit of noise. I tried to actually walk in there to have a dinner, and I got shoved by one of the police officers. And then 30 to 40 minutes after that, a whole bunch of police officers ran up on the crowd and demanding passports. They came up right to me, and they were like, we want his passport. We want to see your documents in their language, and we had somebody translate. I asked them why, and we were informed that if we do not give our IDs when asked, even without probable cause, that we will be sent to jail here in Switzerland. That's how tyrannical here the police are acting right now. And they actually took my passport for about 30, 40 minutes, documented, wrote it down, and I guess I'm yet on another database somewhere. So that's what happened here.
I hear the private security company has an all-seeing eye as their symbol.
Yeah, it's pretty Orwellian here. I mean, it's pretty crazy with the surveillance cameras and lights that they're setting up here. There's police officers all over the place. They even put up a white tarp so nobody could take photographs of the cars coming in here, just like we, previously documented Madeleine Albright.
They're rolling out the red carpet for the banksters to take all their stolen loot from us and bank it there. And you did catch, of course, Bernanke there years ago in Virginia, Madeleine Albright. So they're really rolling out the red carpet for them, it looks like, compared to anything we've ever seen, Luke.
Exactly, and even I'm here talking to We Are Change Switzerland. They're telling me that this is a public street that they're blocking off. They're having private security teams working with the Swiss military and Swiss police blocking off a public sidewalk right here, threatening people with arrest. And we've been informed there's no freedom of speech here. There's no we have pretty much no rights here, so we have to be pretty careful. But we're still going to stand our ground, and we're going to document everything as we can, and we're going to try to send a message to these elitist banksters who are trying to rule this world right now that we're not going away, and we're going to expose them as much as we can.
Oh, this is the criminals. History's being made there, the resistance and the crimes they're committing inside the violation of the Logan Act with U.S. officials that go. Luke, we're going to be talking to you today if we can and over the next few days. Great job. God bless you. Folks can find him at Luke Radowski, We Are Change, at Facebook. God bless and be safe, Luke.
Thank you, brother.
All right, there goes Luke Radowski. Going back to Matt Ryan, we got Gerald Celente coming up about 5 after, 8 after next hour. I got incredible global news. You've worked here a few years, Matt Ryan. It gets crazier and crazier every day now, where it's just, I've got literally over 100 articles here today that I could talk all day just about one of these. And there are the people that are setting it all up at this meeting. They're running things illegally, and there are the cops worshiping them.
Right, and they're setting up basically a big ship, and they're saying you have to be one of us to be allowed to be on the ship while the rest of the world drowns. But you know what? Ships leak, and even the Titanic can sink. So we're going to be there. We're down on the ground, and believe me, if there's a leak, we're going to find it.
Well, we've got intel inside as well. We've got incredible breaking news. We've got to codify into articles. Tell the radio listeners and satellite listeners out there about Infowars.com and this special page that you're continually updating.
Basically, there's a page up on Infowars.com, and the title of it, I'm sorry.
Exclusive live video and photos from Bilderberg, continually updated.
Right. On the top of the page, you'll see a live video from Justin.tv, which is basically Aaron Dykes, Paul Watson, and the rest are down there, and they're transmitting live throughout this conference. Right below that, you'll see the Twitter feed from Real Alex Jones on Twitter, and they are tied into that. And if there's a photo or anything, they need to get out in a hurry. It's going to the Twitter. So you'll be able to find that on that page, and right below that, all the articles we have about it, all the photos that are taken, everything in archives are going to be on that page. It's a one-stop shop. Get the word out. Spread it. Get that link out to as many people as you know, and let's spread the word about this.
Absolutely, because we're seeing a media blackout here in the United States. Let's break the blockade. We've done it before. We're going to do it again. We're going to do a keyword search coming up. Haven't done that in over a month. Stay with us. Gerald Celente, one of the top trends forecasters, researchers out there, will be joining us coming up in the next segment to cover all of the huge global